And now finally comes the part we've all been waiting for. It's the magic part, okay? Where we're going to use a very simple yet advanced script made by a very generous gentleman, okay? Now, when you're watching this tutorial, I've provided the link to where you can download the script. It's called After 3ds Max script, okay? It's designed by someone I don't know, but he calls himself artandgj.com, okay? So please visit this URL to get your script. It's for free, okay? And then it's absolutely free, and I must say, if there was a Nobel Prize for art, you know, for innovation, I wouldn't hesitate to give it to this gentleman, because what he really created is a miracle. It's a masterpiece, because without it we cannot be able to import our 3D plane into After Effects the way we want to. And I've looked at a couple of scripts, many of them, and none of them achieves what his script does. A lot of scripts I came across, well, they just export the camera data and export the points, like they just export the points as nulls in After Effects. And we don't really need that, because this script, not only does it export the points and the nulls and the cameras, it also exports these actual planes into After Effects so that we can do whatever we need there, okay? And that's really wonderful, all right? So I've provided the download link on this tutorial for you guys to access this. And even if the gentleman shuts down his website, do not worry. I'll always keep the script on my website, okay, at henrythejedi.com. All right. So after you've downloaded the script, it comes in this format. It's a zipped file, okay? So we need to extract it, all right? So I'm just going to right click, and then I will select Open with Windows Explorer, okay? Now, if you already have WinRAR, you can just simply right click and extract to the folder, okay? But I just want to make sure we are doing the same things as everyone in case other people do not have WinRAR or WinZip. So we're going to right click Open with Windows Explorer, and then of course it opens up this folder with all these files that accompany the script. And then we're going to click up there, Extract All. Okay, so it's going to extract to this folder. Click Extract, and then we are going to have our folder open. Yeah, there we go. So this is our scripts extracted, okay? Now, I need to show you where to place each of these files so that, of course, we can access them. All right. The first thing to do is to place a copy in After Effects, and also, of course, to place another copy inside of 3D Max. Okay. The other files are not necessary because they are basically demo files of what this gentleman managed to create with his script. Okay. So we need to place this script into the 3D Max script folder. Okay, so we're going to right click and copy, and then we need to paste it where 3D Max script file is located. All right, so I'm just going to click on Start and Computer, and then by default, of course, you'll find your 3D Max installed on the C drive. Okay, so I'm going to go to Program Files, Autodesk, 3D Studio Max, and then you scroll down gently, and then there it is. There is the scripts folder. Okay, so double click on the script folder, and you can paste it anywhere here. All right, so I'm just going to right click and paste. Okay, all right. And then my Windows is just asking me for permission to paste it, and I will say, of course, yes, to paste. Okay, and there it is. All right. Now, since we've pasted the script there, you can see, of course, the default path. It's C drive, Program Files, Autodesk, 3D Max, 2014 or 2015 or 2050, depending on which century you're watching this tutorial on. And then, of course, the script folder. Okay, and there is the script installed. All right. Next, we also need a copy of it for After Effects. So we are going to do the following. And so we are going to select the after 3dsmax.aex file and this file, which is a JavaScript. Okay, so those two files, okay, you see what they are. All right, we are going to right click, copy, okay, and then we go to the program files as before. Program files on my C drive. It might be different on yours. Maybe you install your program files on the K drive, so it depends on where you install your After Effects. Then we go to Adobe, After Effects, support files, and plugins. Okay, so we're going to right click and paste it here. And let me just grant permission to paste the files. There we go. So now the plugins, of course, are in this folder. Okay. So very important to install the folders or the files as I've shown you. All right. Now we need to get back into 3D Max and export this file. And so here's what we're going to do. First of all, I think we may just need to stretch the shadow layer a bit because just in case we might want a shadow that might even reach all the way somewhere there. Okay. So for the width, I think I'm just going to set it to 250. Or maybe 300 for that matter. Okay, that way we just have the width which is as big as we can ever want it to be. All right, yeah, there we go. Just in case we might want the shadow that falls maybe all the way there, you know, something like that. Okay, all right, okay. Next, of course, we click on scripting, run script. If you're using an older version of 3D Max, it might say macro scripts, and then but you'll definitely find run script. Okay, so it could be macro script, run script, but in my case, of course, I'm using Max 2016, so I go to scripting, run script. Okay, when you do that, it will open the 3D Max's script folder. By default, it's the same folder where we installed that script. Okay, remember the one when we went to C drive, program files, Autodesk 3D Max, and then script. So, and then we find our script, and of course there it is. After 3ds Max 0.9, I'm going to double click. There we go, and of course it opens up our script folder, our script menu. What we need to do, of course, is to tell it what objects to take out of here for After Effects. The first thing, of course, is to take the camera. So under export there is a camera. So please click on pick camera, and then we are going to select by name, and then of course double click on that camera, and there we go. It is updated there, and we are happy. Okay. Next things to check is to make sure, of course, that the resolution is still accurate. So we still have a scene of which is on full HD, 1920 by 1080. The aspect ratio is fine, and even the length of the animation is correct. Okay, and the frame rate. And by the way, the length is shown in frames, not in seconds. If you want to see the length in frames, you just click on the time configuration button, and instead of having it shown in minutes and seconds, you just click on frames, and then you click OK, and there we go. You see now the time has changed to frames, and at the end, of course, it's 310, which is that same value there. That is the length. Okay. Now, very important also is the scale. You see that by default is 10. And I found out that this value is accurate. So in case maybe you might notice that when you bring your file in After Effects, in case you notice maybe the objects look too small, you can always increase the scale here by maybe to 100 or to 1000. But as I said, I've noticed the value of 10 really works perfectly. Okay. Next thing to do is to tell it what composition should it have once it's brought in After Effects. Okay, so I'm just going to call this booklet. You can call it, of course, anything you want. Okay, and then up next, it's asking us which planes to bring in. Okay, remember we spent time creating these flat surfaces that can come in. Okay, so of course we're going to click on pick plane and then select by name. Let's go to display, expand all, And of course, we need the front cover, and hold Control and then click on the shadow. Sorry. It seems that I don't want to select many things at once. So at first, we're going to double click the front cover. Here it comes. And then click again on pick plane. And of course, we're going to pick the shadow. There it is. Double click. There we go. So our two objects will be coming through. Okay. And then when you go down further, it also asks you to pick objects like, let's say like the booklet. You can add the object in, but you won't really get much use for it because it will just come in as a null and you won't really be able to do much with it. But if you just want to experiment, it's fine. You can still pick the object and then add the book over there. Okay. And by the way, if you want to remove anything from what you've picked, all you do is you just click on the res button. There we go. You see the object disappear from there. You see that? Even there, you can also click res and you see it wipes everything out. Okay. So I'm just going to pick the planes again. Yeah. So that was just an option to remove anything from the list. There we go. So our objects are back. Okay. So as you can see, yeah, this script is so powerful. It can even import a light. Okay. You see how powerful that is, huh? So just for experimentation's sake, how about we bring in a light as well then? We're going to go to the create panel and then select lights. And let's create a standard Omni light. All right. And yeah. You don't have to do this. We're just doing it just to show you what this script is really capable of. That's why I'm saying I'm really proud of this gentleman who created this script because it's really a masterpiece. So you can see I'm just moving the light to be just above there. You see that? Okay. And of course, if you want, you can also still link the light to the dummy helper. So with the light selected, we are going to select and link, and let's link it to the point helper. Link. Okay. So now, yeah, you see that the light also moves with the point helper. You see? Okay. And yeah, let me just see something here. Yeah, maybe you may want it to be a bit closer to the book. And a bit lower. Who knows? For what purpose? Okay, so yeah, we have a light there which is linked. So we can add that light here. You see that? So pick light, and there we go, Omni. And yeah, the light will also be exported. Okay, that's why I'm saying this script is so powerful, and I really don't know how much to thank this gentleman because he really changed the world. For me, that is. Okay. All right, so let's first save the file. And then, of course, we're going to click on the export button. So you can save the output anywhere. All right. So I'm just going to call this booklet. Okay. And as you can see, this script will be outputting a 3ds file. And we all know 3ds actually contains animation data. Okay. So click that and then click save. And there we go. And in less than a second, the script is done exporting the file. Okay, so we clicked on export and this is the file it gave us, a little 3ds file. Okay, so that was step 1. Now step 2 is for us then to go into After Effects, all right, into which of course we are then going to execute the script. Okay, so to do that we go to File and then we go to Import. Oh no, I don't see the script being shown here. Okay, don't worry. Because I tried to follow the steps as the gentleman showed me, but don't worry, I've done this already. Okay, so what we need to do is to actually move the scripts from the plugins folder into the scripts folder, because I think he created it when After Effects was running scripts from its plugin directories. Okay, so basically from earlier versions of After Effects. So no need to panic. We're just going to simply highlight these those two files from the plugins directory that we pasted, highlight them, right click, cut, and then we click on support files. Mind you, we are in After Effects, Adobe After Effects, support files. Okay, we were under plugins, so we right click and cut these. we go back to the support files directory, and then we click on scripts. And then here we're going to right click and paste the files here. All right, okay. So I'm just going to close After Effects and launch it again. So sorry about that. But yeah, we are back in After Effects, and as we said, we've pasted our scripts in this folder, which is the scripts folder. Now, after you launch After Effects again, you can now go to File, Scripts, and there it is. You see that? It's right below Run Script File, Open Script Editor. There it is. After Effects 3D Max 0.9. There we go. Okay? And if you don't find it here, you can still run the file. You can still pick it from anywhere. Okay? So I'm just gonna go to Scripts, and then there it is. The script expects us to find a 3ds file. Now remember, when we exported it out of 3D Max, we told it to be a 3ds file. Okay? So basically you just have to go to the directory where you've stored it. Alright? So I've stored mine there. There it is. We are going to double click, and then can you see the update over there? You see it's creating importation of the camera so far, and it's already at frame 1112. Now please, at this point, please give it time. Be patient, because as you can see, it looks as if the computer is now very busy. Okay, so I've done tests already. It took about, on my side, it took about 5 or 6 minutes for it to complete the task. Okay, so please don't panic. Leave it alone while it's busy doing this. Go make it a cup of, I don't know, a glass of juice or something. Should be enough. Okay, but as I said, please do not panic. This script works wonderfully. I've done it many times before. All right, it might take long, of course, depending on how many objects that you've told it to send out. Okay, so yeah, let's give it a chance to run, and then yeah, I'll see you on the other side. Okay, now in my case, the script ran a little faster because I closed every background application that was running, including 3D Max, just to give it a chance to run. So it took about 2 minutes to accomplish. Okay, it might take quicker on your computer, or it might go faster. Okay, so now after the script is done executing, you will see there's a composition there called Booklet, or it could be a name you gave it from 3D Max. Just double click it, and bam, there we go. We have the animation all the way from 3D Max, and you see what's rotating there, and of course it is your animation from 3D Max. Let me just do the following. If you expand the menu here, you see everything we've asked it to export got exported, including the light, the shadow layer, and the front cover layer. Please turn off the light by clicking on the eye switch there. And yeah, just to make things go a bit faster. So you see what we've gotten there. Mind you, this came all the way from 3D Max, as I was showing you. And let's get a flashback moment. You see that? They might have different colors, but that doesn't matter, okay? Because remember, we are still going to replace it with anything we want. All right. So you see how the script executed it perfectly. So the slide comes in like that, the book slides like that, it hangs on, and then it goes away. And guess what? It's even precisely the length of time we had in 3D Max, which is of course 10 seconds, as you can see. And all thanks to this wonderful script, and I cannot thank this gentleman enough. Okay, so yeah, let's continue. After this has come in, we need to bring in the render, which we did earlier from 3D Max. Remember those PNGs that we had rendered? When we set up the render, those PNGs, well, it's time to bring them in now, okay? So we go to File, Import, File. Now, I know where I saved mine, so I'm just going to click one of the files and make sure PNG sequence is turned on, okay? And then I'll click Open, all right? So now the sequence comes in, and then we're going to bring it in, of course, like that. All right. Now, if you scrub through the animation, yeah, you see that? Do you see how the book's animation and the one which the script's composition. Do you see how they match perfectly? Look at that. Okay. Now, first thing to do is position the layers accordingly. Okay. Now, this is very crucial because of the following. Of course, the front cover, as the name suggests, must come to the front. So we are going to move it to be at the top of everything. There we go. So you see, that will be the cover of the book. All right. So that will be the cover of the book as it animates. What about the shadow? Well, let's see. Well, the shadow is fine where it is because it has to be below the book layer. Because I mean, if it was here, if it was above everything, let's see. Yeah, if it was like that, the shadow will end up cutting through the animation. So instead, of course, the shadow has to be at the very bottom of everything. Okay, not at the bottom of everything, but at the bottom of these layers with information. It can be above the camera. That is fine. Okay, so this is what we are having right now. Okay, now it's looking good, but I'm sure you guys can also see a particular problem we're having, and that is when the animation starts at the beginning, you see the front cover is cutting through the book's render. We need to fix that, and don't worry, it's very simpler than you can imagine to fix that. But first, I'm trying to be careful, so I'm going to click and save my file before we do anything else. Okay? Now that our file has been safely saved, we can now fiddle with things the way we want. Okay? Problem number one is making sure that when the animation plays, you see, we do not end up with this problem because you can clearly see the front cover is cutting through our book render. Okay? Now, we're going to fix that by doing the following. We must decide at which point should the front cover begin to appear. Well, it should appear from around here, around 10 seconds. So please click on the front cover layer. By the way, when you expand the solids folder, you can see there's a front cover layer and a shadow layer. And mind you, they both came from 3D Max, the way they were named. And also what's also important is that the dimensions which they are now taking. For instance, the front cover, you can see the dimensions is now 1400 by 1800. If you go into into 3D Max, in the script, you can clearly see, as I told you guys, that the script multiplies the scale of everything by default of 10 because this genius of a guy realized that when you bring things into After Effects with the script, it needed to be multiplied by 10. Hence, now, the values, remember, for instance, this was 180 by 140. So multiply by those values by 10, and of course, those are the values that you'll get. Okay? And you can clearly see it's working well. So in future, if you realize that these scales are too small when they're brought into After Effects, you can always increase this value to 100 or to 1000 if you want. That is, of course, if you notice very big scale differences. Okay? But other than that, the scaling of 10 really works, which is the default. So please select the front cover. And then we're going to expand the transform options. And then let's get to the opacity because you need to control how it appears. Of course, you can always press T on the keyboard to access it. So we're going to create a keyframe there for the opacity at 10 seconds because it's at that point that we want it to be visible. But before then, this layer must be invisible. So in other words, before this time, we need to change the value to 0. In case you can't see these values here, you need to expand. You need to click on this button to expand or collapse the transfer control plane. Okay? Or you can click here, whichever one can help you. Alright, so we're going to change this value to 0, like that. You see now it has disappeared. So that, because it's a value of 0, when we begin, you see, when we begin, all we see is the book cover. You see, the book itself. And then as it's rotating, you see, we still don't see the cover until that angle. That's when, of course, the cover finally appears for us. That's exactly what we need. All right? Then it stays on screen like that. That's fine. And then we find at which point where it needs to disappear again. All right. So let's zoom in a bit like that, you know. So let's see. Yeah. So around this point in time, basically around this point in time, we need another keyframe there. Okay. And then around here, the front must disappear again. So opacity, enter a value of 0, and there we go. It disappears again, so that all we see is the book itself. Then, of course, the cover must be ready to appear again. So around here, around here, create a keyframe there with a value of 0 still. Then here, here we can now increase it back to 100. Okay, so that it appears yet again. There we go. So it appears yet again. And then it spins yet again, and around around here, create a key. Next keyframe, of course, it has to disappear yet again behind the book. Perfect. And yeah, that's what actually needs to happen. I'm going to do the following. Let's create an animation preview to see what we've done. But of course, first, save your file. All right. And so we're going to press the preview button there. And let's see what it turns out. Oh, sorry. It seems we forgot. Yeah, you see, we forgot to adjust the keyframes also here. So please, let's get to this. So even here, we also need a keyframe there. Sorry about that. So next one, of course, goes invisible, 0. Perfect. And then it spins. We don't see the cover. And then around here, put in a value of 0 again. Okay. And then here, yeah, now here it can appear. So let's put a value of 100. Perfect. So yeah, that's fine. Okay. So hopefully this should do the trick. And then let me just make room for you guys to see what's going on. And preview. Now, what do we get when we preview this? Aha, look at that. Whoa. And as you can see, of course, it looks as if the front is not even interfering with the book render. And that's exactly what we needed to have. You see that? Okay. And this is really, really wonderful to see this coming to life. Wonderful. Okay. Great stuff. Now, it's time to get even more creative. We are now going to replace this front cover with anything we want. Imagine. Okay. So that's exactly what we're going to do right now. Okay. To do that, we need to do what is called pre-composing. All right. Let me just do this. Yeah, we need to pre-compose this layer. In other words, we need to take the front cover layer and put it in its own composition. That way, from its own composition, we can place a book cover there, and that way it will update automatically in this composition. Okay, it's a very intelligent and safe way to manipulate data or information or pictures, because you never know how many changes you may need to have to do. Okay, so we select the front cover and then we click on layer. It doesn't show on your screen maybe. Okay, but I'm clicking on layer, and then below auto trace there's pre-compose. Okay, it's at the very bottom. Sorry, it's not showing on the screen. Okay, maybe I should do the following. Let me change my resolution for the recording. In fact, we didn't have to go through that trouble of not finding it there, because here's what you can do. You can just select the layer and then right click, and there it is, pre-compose. Okay, so you can still find it under layer, and when you move all the way down below auto trace. Okay, so here right click and pre-compose. Okay, and then of course it gives it a new name, and please leave all attributes in this composition, okay, because you still need it to keep its properties that it had here. All right, and then click OK, and then double click on it, or rather you can now find it there as a composition. So double click that, and this is the front of the page cover that we had designed all along. And on here you can place anything you want. Okay, you can put your photo, you can put a video, you can put anything you want. Okay, and I had already prepared something for myself. And where is it? Yeah, I think I want this photo here, you know, where I'm looking a bit too serious. Okay, so we are going to bring in a picture or a video. You can bring in anything. So for our tutorial, I'm just going to bring a file, and I'm going to double click on my photo there. And please pay attention to what we are doing. Remember, we are in this composition at the moment. Okay, so we'll make sure you're in this composition, and then we're going to bring in the photo. It can be a photo, it can be a video, it can be anything, as we said. And then I'm going to hide the original layer, and I'm going to scale this picture just to fit to the proportions which I want. Yeah, so just to fit to the proportions which I want. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. Now beware of the magic that's about to happen, okay? Because if you now double click on the booklet composition, guess what happens? Aha! Look at that. Eh? Look at that. I happen to be on the magazine cover. Oh, God knows what I did to deserve that. You see the power of After Effects, eh? So just like that, we've replaced, look at that, we've replaced the background, we've replaced the front cover with anything we wanted. And of course, I wanted this photo to be there, and look at that, I'm on a magazine cover. Impressive, eh? And then let's do the following. We're also going to change the background. Okay, so let's create a new solid. So layer, new solid, call this background. Sorry, excuse my spelling. Background. Okay, let's make it a bit more interesting. So we'll go to effects, generate, and let's generate a ramp. All right, and then maybe we wanted to start a bit lighter, not too light, something like that. But then, yeah, it can finish off slightly darker. But I always like hues of colors instead of just colors. Okay, so hence I'm just varying them wherever I see fit. Okay, that's fine. Now let's drag that background below everything else. There we go. All right, and then let's create an illusion of an horizon in the background. So let's do the following. Let's see, layer, new solid again, call this horizon. Okay, it's a fake horizon that we are creating, and then just scale it down like that, but definitely wider, and move it like that, and please move it below things like that. Okay, and then just scale it down again, and we are going to create a mask for it. So you see where there's a rectangular mask, just double click to create a mask for it, and then let's turn off toggle mask visibility, and then in the mask settings, let's feather this mask out by a lot. Okay, is that changing anything? Because we really want it to be sort of not so visible. Expansion, can you reduce the expansion? There we go, yeah. So please reduce the expansion, and you can see by doing that it's creating that illusion of an horizon. Okay, but let's see. Let's scale it further outwards like that. Okay, and opacity, of course, let's drop it down. There we go. Okay, that way it just looks like there's some kind of an horizon in the background. All right, in fact, we might even want to reduce the opacity further, maybe to 30 or even 20 for that matter. Yeah. All right, and then the other thing is, if you look closely, you will notice it looks as if there's a sharp edge around the book. Okay, we need to remove that. All right, because it has to look like it really belongs here. So to remove that, please select the book layer, the 3D Max or rather the PNG render, and then go to Effects, and then Matte Simple Choker. So Effect Matte Simple Choker, and then please increase the values. And can you see what happens when you change the values? Of course, it's getting rid of that hard edge. All right, try a value of 1. Okay, and hopefully that solves the problem. You see now the edges are nice and smooth, because this is before. You see those harsh edges. So this is with and without the effects, so you can compare, of course, for yourselves, and you can definitely tell it looks much better without those hard edges. Perfect. Okay, this is wonderful. Although maybe it's there on the front cover, but it's not so noticeable. Okay, so that's fine. All right, and then I notice, of course, the book is getting lost in the background because the background color is almost the same as the book. So let's change it to something else for the sake of our tutorial. Let's see. Remember, you can change it to anything you want. All right, so yeah, I think I'm going for that color. Great stuff. Okay. All right, let's save our file because we are going to the next chapter of changing the shadow. So we're going to save the file.